Hello and welcome to All About the Music. My name is Ollie Barker and today we have a fantastic show lined up for you.
Thanks, Ollie. Coming up, we have the fabulous Tom Seals, followed by Meet the Producers with Judd Lander and In the Spotlight.
Hi, I'm Tom Seals. Welcome to Tom Seals Presents. We're here in the studio and each week I'm chatting to a very special guest. They're going to tell me about their 3 favourite songs and why they mean so much to them. Me and my incredible band are going to play them for you right now. Let's go! Here we go, boys! 1, 2, 3, 4! This week, my special guest. She's the star of the Netflix hit show Tiger King. She appeared in front of millions of people on Dancing with the Stars in America. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carole Baskin. Carole, hello. Firstly, thanks so much for being on the show. It's great to see you. And it seemed to me like in the space of one day, everybody in the world knew who Carole Baskin was. 70 million people, I think, by now have watched the show. How crazy is that? How did it feel when that all just happened?
You know, it was just shocking to me. I had absolutely no expectation of what a runaway hit that would be and how many people would tune in to watch that.
Crazy. Overnight success. And I know you filmed it. I say overnight success, and that's the thing that a lot of people say to me of, oh, you've played Ronnie Scott's, which is the famous jazz club in London that was always my dream to play. And they say, well, you've come out of nowhere, but actually it's taken me 15 years to get to a stage to play there. And I know that you filmed the show over, was it many years?
Filming took 5 years, but the work that we've been doing at the Sanctuary has been going on for almost 30 years. So you're right, and anything that is an overnight success usually has decades of hard work behind it.
Sure, and I know I've had an experience in the UK on a reality TV show, so I know what they tell you is not necessarily what is actually the truth and what goes out. And I know from your experience, what you were told wasn't exactly what went out. But are you still glad that you did the show?
You know, if you ask me that question and you ask my husband that question, you'll get different answers. My husband would say no because he felt so betrayed by the producers. But I feel like because of the fact that people didn't even know that these big cats were suffering in backyards and basements across America, and they didn't know that that is causing the extinction of the tiger in the wild, that even though they were very hateful toward me and the entire sanctuary industry, I'm thankful that it did happen so that people are at least talking about saving the tiger now.
Sure. And of course, you're continuing your great work now. I saw that you got the opportunity on Dancing with the Stars to carry on the great work that you're doing. And you danced in front of millions of people to Eye of the Tiger. And this is the first song that we're going to get onto. So tell me first about your experience on Dancing with the Stars. And then secondly, tell me why the song Eye of the Tiger.
I had never danced before, but my mother had always said, you can do anything you set your mind to. And she proved that that was not the case because I really set my mind to winning that mirror ball and I didn't come anywhere close. So it proved that I could not dance. But I was really happy to have that opportunity because it did give me an awful lot of access to the media to talk about the things that Tiger King left out, how they didn't talk about so much of the abuse. You know, there was so much more that could have been done in Tiger King for the animals. And so I was very thankful to the people at Dancing with the Stars for giving me that platform, which has allowed me to talk to people like you.
Well, exactly. So tell me about Eye of the Tiger. Has that been a song that's followed you throughout your whole life, or why that song?
I really love the song Eye of the Tiger because Eye of the Tiger, the phrase means to be as focused or as confident as a tiger. And I think that that has certainly been the description of my life in trying to save the tiger in the wild and save them from the abuses of captivity. I've been kind of like laser focused on that. and haven't cared too much about all of the crazy people that surround me or the people who want me dead.
Well, we'll get onto that a bit later, but first of all, me and my band are going to show you our version of Eye of the Tiger. I hope you enjoy this.
Rising up back on the street. Well, I did my time, took my chances. I went the distance and now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. Oh, so many times it happens too fast. You change your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive. Well, it's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to challenge our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye. With the eye of the tiger. Face to face out on the heat. I'm hanging so tough, staying hungry. Stack the odds till we take to the street. But we kill with a will to survive. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to challenge our rival. And the last known survivor stalks the prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. Oh, yeah. Rising up straight to the top. I got the guts, got the glory. I went the distance, now I'm not gonna stop. Just a man and his will to survive. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to challenge our rival. And the last unknown survivor stalks the prey in this night. And he's watching us all with the eye. Oh, of the tiger, Bible do the world of that and go, yeah. With the eye of the tiger. Oh, yeah. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to challenge our rival. It's the last known survivor stalks the prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye. When he's watching us all. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger.
You and the band sounded absolutely great. I loved your rendition and your piano part in that. That was just great.
Oh, thanks, Carol. A little bit different to the original. Now, talking of a little bit different, of course, you've seen there I play kind of jazzy, bluesy sort of stuff, but I found myself reading on the Classic FM website. Now, Classic FM here in the UK is our biggest classical music radio station, and I was reading an article that said, well, it suggested that lions and tigers enjoy classical music, and it also suggested that rhinos, of all animals, preferred upbeat pop. Now, I'm not sure if you know whether this is true, but I'm intrigued. Do you play any music to your cats?
Well, we've had a number of people who came out and played instruments for the cats, and they seem to really like flute music. Every Sunday, we do something called Singing Sunday, where we take out a keyboard, and one of our people who is an excellent songwriter, singer, she sings to the cats. And so each Sunday, a different cat gets music played to them. And it's really interesting to see how they react to that. You can see them just kind of like, wow, that's such an interesting sound. So I think they really do enjoy it.
Well, next time I'm in Tampa, you get the piano out and I'll be there. You know that. I'll be there.
Count on it.
Now, your second song is Have I Told You Lately, written by Van Morrison, of course made famous by Rod Stewart. Tell me why this song's special.
This song is so special to me because it's the song that my husband and I played at our wedding. We got married on a beach on Anna Maria Island Beach with just my daughter and her boyfriend, a notary, and his girlfriend, and we brought a little boom box out. And back then they were on CDs, and so we played that on the beach after our wedding.
Wow. Now, we're going to take a very quick break. As soon as we get back, me and the band are going to play it. I hope you enjoy it. Don't go anywhere. We're going to play Carol's wedding song, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You. See you shortly. Hey guys, I'm so excited to tell you that this autumn, me and the boys in the band, we're heading out on our first ever UK theatre show headline tour. The tour is called the 45s Tour. It's going to be a great night of blues, boogie, swing, some tunes you've heard already on the show, some brand new original material of mine. Can't wait to see you there. For more information and tickets, tomseals.co.uk.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? You fill my heart with gladness, you take away my sadness, you ease my troubles, that's what you do. All the morning sun and all its glory, it greets the day with hope and comfort too. You fill my life with laughter, yes, you somehow make it so much better. You ease my troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine. Oh, it's like the sun, and at the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one, pray to the one. I said, have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with laughter, you somehow make it better. You ease my troubles, that's what you do. thanks and pray to the one, oh, to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you that there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with gladness. You take away all of my sadness. You ease my troubles, that's what you do. Oh, you fill my life with gladness. You take away my sadness. You ease my troubles, that's what you do. You fill my life with gladness. You take away my sadness. You ease my troubles. You ease my troubles, that's what you do.
So, Carol, when I asked you to be on the show, your reply was, Tom, count me in as long as I don't have to sing. Now, you've danced on TV, we just need you to sing, but have you ever sang? Has there ever been music in your life in that way?
I can't sing any better than I can dance, and that's why I wanted to phrase this interview with, please do not ask me to sing.
Don't worry, you're safe, there'll be no singing. Have you never, you know, of course, when people grow up, they might pick up the guitar or play the piano a little bit. Have you ever played an instrument? Have you ever sang?
You know, when I was a child, we lived in a trailer park, and my grandmother had bought me one of those organs, you know, little, not portable, but
Sure.
small organ. And so I taught myself to pick out different songs, and I got all the kids in the neighborhood together, and we just loved all of the Elvis Presley tunes and the Tom Jones tunes, and we sang our little hearts out, but I can't even imagine how horrible that must have sounded to our neighbors.
Yeah. But do you remember the first concert you ever went to, the first gig?
I didn't go to a concert until I was an adult, and my daughter was an adult, and we went to a Matchbox 20 concert, and that's the only concert I've ever been to.
Really? Wow, well, you've got an open invite to one of mine anytime, you know that. Now,
Well, thank you.
Good. Well, I'm going to make you sing, though. If you come, you're singing. That's the only deal. Now, your third and final song is, well, you referenced it before. You know, you've had a lot of people that are out to get you, Carol. And you said to me that staying alive, you've had a few threats, and is this an important song? So tell me why this song, why it means so much to you.
In my industry, where we are trying to end the abuse of big cats, there are some really scary people who abuse big cats. And the way that they have gotten away with that for years is by bullying and frightening people who would speak out against them. So other sanctuarians will often tell me, we're so glad that you're out there leading the charge, and we're so glad that we don't have to. And I can understand why they would be afraid to speak out against the abuse, because these people have been threatening to kill me for literally decades. And I've been physically attacked by them. And so the song Staying Alive is just kind of like my mantra of, you cannot bring me down. I am going to end the abuse of these big cats. And no matter what you do, I am staying alive.
Good. Well, that's great to hear. Now we're going to play the song. It might be a little bit different. We're going to add a bit of jazzy, bluesy style to it. So we're going to play that right now. Carol, thanks for being on the show. It's great to see you. And I can't wait until you're the guest singer with the Tom Seals Band. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Tom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. The music's loud and women's roar. I've been kicked around, I was born. You know it's alright, it's okay. You can look the other way. We can try to understand the New York Times of fate on men. Whether you're a brother, whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and shaking, everybody is staying alive, staying alive. join us, folks, thanks to Carol Baskin. And thanks to my incredible band. Thank you for watching at home. I can't wait to see you next week. I'm going to be joined by Toya. Hope to see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to tell you that this autumn, me and the boys in the band, we're heading out on our first ever UK theatre show headline tour. The tour is called the 45s Tour. It's going to be a great night of blues, boogie, swing, some tunes you've heard already on the show, some brand new original material of mine. Can't wait to see you there. For more information and tickets, tomseals.co.uk.
So there was a band called the Mersey Beats, who then became the Merseys, and they were doing a session in London, and they said they phoned me up and said, Judd, we'd love you to come and play on one of our records, and that was the thing that triggered my move off in coming to London, where I started doing some session work, and I remember going down to the studio and playing on a track called Penny in My Pocket. And Dick Leckie was the assistant producer, and Dick ended up being George Michael's sort of publisher. And while we were there, I was recording the track, and Billy tells me the story, the bass player, about how down the road the Beatles, or Neil Aspinall, who was the Beatles' the main man and road manager, was trying to get me in Liverpool to see whether I'd come and do a session with the Beatles. Unfortunately, I was playing down, in the studio, and it was in the days where you didn't have mobiles, so nobody could contact me. So, unbeknown to me, I play on the Merseys record, Penny in My Pocket, which is one of their biggest flops, when it could have been on a #1 had I gone 10 minutes up the road to Abbey Road. I've got so many backstage passes that I've started putting them on plaques. This one's got Britney Spears. Oh my goodness, when she was performing at Wembley, Britney Spears in Cannes, which was a nice one. Southside Johnny, who are really cool. There's ABBA, the European tour, Culture Club, of course, and I think, is Brucey Baby here? Bruce Springsteen, I think, is somewhere around. I had the bug then, and I'd come up and play, or come down and play sessions with various people. And it was the session work that got me into the industry, having played with Nazareth and some of the old classic rock bands. I ended up hanging around Apple Records because a dear friend of mine was Neil Aspinall, who was their road manager, the Beatles' road manager, but he was more than that. He ended up becoming managing director of Apple. And we moved into his flat. He had this beautiful posh flat in Sloane Street, a place called Fordy House. It's still there. So we went up there, and I remember the concierge sort of greeting us at the door. And I'm thinking, oh, this is very posh. Anyway, in we go. Neil's there. The rooms were... I remember being in the bedroom thinking, this is the same size as my house in Liverpool. It was so... ostentatious and lovely. So anyway, we tucked in, and of course then, Neil, I'd be popping into Apple to see a friend of mine who worked as the cutter at in Savile Row. It was where the Beatles had just split up, and they'd moved into Savile Row. And a friend of mine, George Peckham, was the disc cutter at Apple. That's where the guys in the old days, you'd have a record which was a lacquer, and you'd actually cut the audio into this master sort of plate, I suppose you call it. And so I'd pop down and see him, and I'd be rubbing shoulders with Badfinger, who were old friends of mine from Liverpool. They were called the Ivies then. And they invited me to play on a session. So we ended up doing a bit of session work at Apple. So that was I was never employed by Apple apart from doing session work. So that was cool. You know, I was now it was the trendy place to be. Apple was a happening place at the time. And that enabled me then to lock into the business. And again, it was in the days of no mobiles. So I would have a chat with Laurie, who was the switchboard operator at Apple Records. She was ever so sweet, a scouser like me. And I got little boxes of matches made with my name, Judd Lander, but I put Apple's phone number. So people, when they wanted to get me for a session, they'd phone up. Laurie would answer the phone saying, Apple Records here, can I help you? Wow, they were impressed. Oh, I'm trying to get Judd. Oh, he's not here at the moment. If you give me your name and number, I'll... So I had that. I was very naughty, very cheeky. But it got me on the road to getting into the business and into the London scene, which was quite vibrant at the time. So over here is one of my Wailing Walls. There's a disc there, Run DMC, and got that when we were working with London Records. Pete Tong was the man in charge of signing the guys, and we had a field day. I mean, they were very, very funny to work with. I remember when they left, I ended up with about 5 pairs of Adidas. I mean, it was a classic record. And it was of its time. So I got to rub shoulders with, we'd have dinner with George Harrison in the King's Road. Patty was with him then, and Neil. We'd sort of go out to various places with Neil. But I was rubbing shoulders with a lot of media people. Then I bumped into Charisma Records, and by default, I used to go around there quite a lot to Charisma. And they were just emerging, cool, trendy, independent company. So I got involved with Charisma by meeting Gail Coulson. Gail was the MD, and Tony Stratton-Smith was the owner. And they had bands, Van de Graaff Generator, Genesis had just joined them. So they had a wealth of really cool, trendy bands. And they asked me if I've ever done plugging before. And I explained, what's plugging? So it's promotion. You take a record up to a national radio station, you get it played. So I thought, well, that sounds easy peasy. So I took on a couple of their tracks and went up, and then befriended John Peel. And John Peel was like a music god at the time. He had great ears. He could hear a hit, and he'd always take a gamble. If there was something raw, he'd just go for it and he'd play it. So he was my main contact, and being a Scouser as well, it really helped. We got on well. And then I ended up promoting Genesis, their first single hit, Clifford T. Ward, Gay, Van de Graaff Generator, Monty Python's Flying Circus. Monty had the Pythons had an album out, and that's where George Peckham at Apple had sort of become a big name in the industry to cut tracks, and he actually put a couple of run-on grooves onto one of Python's albums. So when you put your needle on, it would pick a track randomly and confuse you. So that was like a bit of a first in that era. But as I progressed, I moved then on to the major labels, and I was poached by Epic Records and joined Epic as a PR guy. And that was like, I had a field day there because they had all the major artists. And that's when I started working with people like Michael Jackson, ABBA, a host of major names, Meatloaf, and that journey in itself was just such a buzz. And I was now getting, the feeling of how you know, how to get a raw track, and take it to the media, and work out who would be susceptible, who would bite into that track. And we had loads and loads and loads of success. Yeah. Next we got the Spice Girls. I played on a track called Say You'll Be There. You may remember it still gets airplay now, and it was the end of the track. So that's me doing my little harmonica bit. But we done that at Olympic Studios. And I remember going down there, and one of the girls looked familiar. And it turns out I used to drink with her father, and it was Emma Bunton. And she lived in Whetstone, I lived in Whetstone. But I hadn't connected the two until I was at the Brit Awards, and the girls were getting their award. And then I met up with their dad, Trevor. I said, Trevor, what are you doing here? He said, oh, my daughter's performing. I said, well, who's she with? He said, the Spice Girls. Then it all clicked, because I knew her. I saw her when she was small. So I ended up playing on that record and getting a nice disc from Virgin off that one. I was now on a bit of a roll, people phoning me up asking if I play on various tracks. And it was with the harmonica of all instruments. I mean, I didn't have porterage, I didn't have the hassle of carrying a double bass on my shoulder or whatever. You know, I just had some harmonicas, went into the studio, laid the tracks down, and played with some amazing people. It's, you know, from the Mersey Beats to Twiggy, who was a model many years ago, Val Doonigan, which was the worst session ever, because I remember being hired, going into the studio, and it was a live orchestra. And they had a music stand for me in the middle of the string section, and they had a girl vocal trio behind me, who they were from Liverpool, called the Vernon's Girls. And I remember suddenly being confronted with this music chart. Well, I don't read, and I'm panicking, and I'm thinking, what the hell? And I'm trying to work out the bars. And the girls obviously sussed there wasn't a reader. And one of them said, look, are you okay? I said, no. Anyway, she said, look, I'll give you a tap when it comes up to your bit. And this orchestra playing away with Val Doonigan in the sound booth singing away. And I got to my part and I missed it on the first one. And the whole orchestra then suddenly stopped. And then, let's go again and take it again and over here. And then she hit me just before, and I got it right the second time. And eventually I went through that, and I was very lucky. I ended up doing a couple of great parts with the Beach Boys, working with Culture Club, Karma Chameleon. That's my harmonica on their tracks. And it was all my session musicianship that took me in to the promotion side of things.
We are
Feral Ghost from London, England.
I think our influences as a band collectively are pretty varied, but some of the big stadium bands like Fleetwood Mac, U2,
ABBA, harmony-wise,
Simon & Garfunkel, the Beatles,
the Eagles,
yeah,
Coldplay,
Pink Floyd. We got the band name because Danny lived in a flat where some spooky, weird things were happening, and he later met a psychic who asked him if there was some stuff happening around him. He said yes, there was, and apparently there was a wandering ghost that was visiting him while he was writing his music.
Tell me I'm a fool to hesitate, but I'm not too late. Tell me I'm a fool to hesitate, but I'm not too late. In this modern world, it's hard enough to cut through all the noise and hear the love. Know it as the truth. Recognize the signs, seize the moment every time.
Like with most of our songs, that song was written on either acoustic guitar or on piano. Usually it's acoustic guitar because that's his main instrument. And the song is about basically not taking anyone special in your life for granted. So, because you never know what you've got until it's gone, basically, which is quite a good sentiment for these times.
I think our advice for aspiring musicians and artists would be to be unique, just be yourself and not to follow what everyone else is doing. Be inspired by them, but not copy.
My ideal date, I'd have to say my boyfriend. We both love animals, we both love cats and dogs, we love travelling, visiting exotic places.
I don't know about ideal dates, but I would quite like to hang out with Lady Gaga because she's pretty cool and very inspirational. If I wasn't a musician, I think I would be a carpenter. I was offered an apprenticeship when I was 16 and I probably would have taken that up. I mean, it's still something creative and I like working with my hands.
I think I'd have to say also something creative, which would be probably a music or journalist or writer, novelist, where I get to travel and write about different things, probably music, to be honest. The best gig I've ever played with Feral Ghost would be the first gig I've ever played with the band, which would be Faversham Hop Festival. Atmosphere was lovely, Kent's a lovely place, and it was just my first gig and it was exciting. I'd only just learnt the songs and it was just a really nice crowd as well.
So I think my favourite gig with Feral Ghost has been one we did that ended up being a competition, and we won it and we got amazing feedback and it was really good energy and atmosphere, and that's where we met you.
Great, that was a great gig. They played really well and I wanted to be in the band straight away. If I could only listen to one band or artist for the rest of my life, I'd have to say, I think Sting and the Police, because then I get two for the price of one, because I get Sting and the Police.
I think I would have to choose the Beatles because they have so many songs, like so many contrasting songs as well.
All that we seek will be laid at your feet once the earth and the stars line up for you. So throw your arms open wide, let the universe decide. Show your love for all to see. See how the stars shine like gold. Let your destiny unfold. Only love could be this free. Show your love to me.
Five years from now, I think we see ourselves touring around the world, at lots of different places,
Festivals.
playing lots of festivals, yeah.
You can find us on feralghost.com. We're on all the main social media, Feral Ghost Official.
Man, it's been years since you've been around. past to the past. Oh, it's been a long time, my friend, lying here in the sun. The summertime has begun, and I don't want these days to end. It's been a long time, my friend.
Greetings, music lovers, and welcome back to Live from the Edge. We've got 4 acts to bring to you tonight. This first lot have already had 2 top 20 albums and have supported the likes of Liam Gallagher, the Kooks, and the Kings of Leon. They're from Bolton upon Dearne, which is near Barnsley, and led by brothers Kieran and Brandon Crook. These are the Sherlocks.
The chats and sun, I'll keep away from everyone. I'll keep it going, dagger to sleep. I'll take the limousine, the biggest one you've ever seen, and I'll pick you up tomorrow afternoon. When the lights go down, just know that I'll be there. I'll tell you all the time that I really am the best. Go to the should be the one to tell us what went wrong. 'Cause we don't see it like you do. And although the eyes is looking in, you're on the outside looking in. You should be alright. When they all start falling, will you be there? Will you be there? And when you hear them calling, will you be there to pick them up? Will you be there? Lay down your bed of roses and take the chip down from your shoulders. 'Cause although the eyes is looking in, you're on the outside looking in. You should be alright. When they all start falling, you'll be nowhere to stay. You don't know where you're going, but you know just where you've been. And they say that every dog will have its day, and it's coming round. When they all start falling, will you be there? Will you be there? And when you hear them calling, will you be there to pick them up? Will you be there? When they all start falling, will you be there? Will you be there? And when you hear them calling, will you be there to pick them up? Will you be there when they all start falling? Will you be there? And when you hear them calling, will you be there? Will you be there?
Well, this is something different. It's a solo performance to a track, admittedly, but a solo performance by a drummer. He's called Chris Turner, and he plays in a band who are big in the States called Ocean's 8 Alaska. Now, this track is called 40 Roll. Chris can apparently play 19 kick drum beats a second. I'll repeat that. 19 kick drum beats a second. He gets very annoyed when people think that this is artificially generated or triggered or something, because I'll be honest with you, even as a drummer, it looks physically impossible, but he is playing this. So just be amazed by Chris Turner.
I'm not entirely happy with this.
A solo performance next from Megan Dixon Hood. She's really intrigued by the dark side of fairy tales and things that go bump in the depths of the woods at night. So be drawn in to her strange little peculiar world. Megan Dixon Hood.
High up in the mountain top, dusted and white, no river flows, only echoes of the voices left behind. No traveler returns, no man inside. High above mind is filled with hate and greed. You won't give me what I want. Could you ever be forgiven? And can I ever be forgiven? And could you ever be forgiven? And can I ever be filled with hunger, filled with thirst? I watch you light and burn the earth, and do not cut me down, do not cut me down. Give you shelter, I give you air, but you did not even seem to care. Go and take what you want from me. Go and take what you want from me. Hey, do not put me down. Do not put me down. Do not cut 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 me down. Filled with hunger, filled with thirst, I watch you light and burn the earth around me, around. I remember it seemed empty without you. You were gone for days, the time stood still. The silence was a never-ending torture that tied itself around my neck and wouldn't let go. Lying awake, I toss and turn. Patiently, I wait for your return. But instead, you came to me in a dream. You were standing lost at the end of the bed. When I heard your voice cut through like glass, it broke my heart, and darling, how I wept. Begged you not to go away, begged you not to go away, begged you not to go away, begged you not to go away.
So we're here at the Edge Studios for a set by the Chameleons. Mark Burgess, it's like, I was just trying to work out how long it is since I've seen you. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was working at the ticket office last time. You came and bought a ticket at Man City and I was in the ticket office. Right. What are you doing here?
And we were reminiscing about the first time I saw you was at a Manchester club called The Gallery.
Right, Peter Street, yeah.
Peter Street.
Yeah.
It was a great little venue.
Great little venue.
Where are you up to?
I'm right, exactly the same place I've always been. I haven't taken a single step forward.
Right, but you're back home living in Middleton at the moment.
Thanks to COVID-19.
Yeah.
I've been at my mum's for the last year because I couldn't get back to where my girlfriend. I live with my girlfriend in the United States and I couldn't get back there. So I'm waiting for that border to open again to get home.
And so you've been here for, you just missed getting back, didn't you?
3 days. 3 days. I was due to go on the Wednesday, I think, and he shut it on this weekend, didn't he? It was the weekend when he shut the border. First of all, he said just mainland Europe, didn't he? And I thought it was going to be all right. And I was all right for a day or two, and then they must have been in his ear, and he said, no, I'm going to shut it to the UK as well. And that was. And I didn't expect it to be a year. I thought it'd be like a few months or something like that.
Yeah, I think we all thought
when
that,
SARS
didn't we?
happened and, you kind of passes you by, doesn't it?
I know.
But no, it changed the world, hasn't it? It's changed the world completely.
And it's not even like while you've been here, you've been able to kind of really get stuck into the Chameleons.
No,
you've
can't
not
do
been
anything.
able to meet
No, I haven't worked in over a year. I mean, it was like a year ago since we played together, up to 2 days ago. We hadn't played for over a year because of the restrictions.
What's the audience and the affection like for the Chameleons? I mean, do you still have a really ardent following?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're the reason we're doing it. I mean, they'll actually pay us to play this stuff over and over again. So that's good.
What's really lovely is when I come here today and I see Reg, who was one of the twin guitarists in the Chameleons, who gave you that unique sound, and he's been back with you, playing with you for a couple of years, you say?
Well, about a year now,
right?
But not that as much as not as much as we wanted because everything's been kind of postponed again. But he got on board and he's done a few shows with us now. He came to Athens. We did a show in Athens. We did Manchester, London. We did a couple of acoustic shows together, which was good fun with Stephen, our latest recruit over on drums.
Right.
And it's good because he's really enjoying it. He's really enjoying the whole process. He's enjoying the rehearsing and he's enjoying playing the shows. And he never really enjoyed it back in the day, being live. He was the most nervous, and he was being away from home for long stretches.
Yeah, it doesn't suit everybody, does it?
No. But that's not the way we're going to be doing it anyway. So we've kind of modified that a little bit. It's not like he's going to be spending 6 weeks in a transit van.
No, right.
So
it's good though, isn't it? Because you're obviously the face and the singer of the Chameleons, and people know you as the Chameleons. But it's nice when there are two of you in the originals. And of course, for a long time it was you and poor old John on the drums, who's very sadly no longer with us.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, to me, it's a very uncomplicated thing. You either want to do it or you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do it, then fine. Then just let the ones that do want to do it get on with it. I am happy to do it while people want to hear it. And the tricky thing is, it's like, when are you going to do new stuff? But I mean, well, one of the Chameleons has died. The other Chameleon is completely estranged. Rhea and Reg have only just got back together after God knows how long. So, that becomes problematic because what kind of record is it going to be? It's not, do they expect... I think, you're not going to make a record that sounded like you sounded 20 years ago or whatever. You want to, who you are now is the music's going to reflect that. So that's always a tricky one to address. But in terms of playing the stuff that people are familiar with, and it's more relevant now than it was.
Well,
when we did
I was going to say, you must get new people coming who weren't who haven't been around with you for 30, 40 years like me, because on Six Music I hear a lot of bands who sound like the Chameleons and say the Chameleons were an influence.
Yeah, I don't know anything about I don't know anything about that, but I do know that we did some album performances not so long ago, and we did Strange Times album performance, and I came off stage and came down to say hello, a bit of a meet and greet with people, and there were a couple of kids there that were like 21 getting their copies of Strange Times signed, and that's really gratifying, considering when the record was made that it can still speak to people like on a deep level, and it does, So that's
It
good.
does, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to see you again.
Good to see you too, Mark.
Really
Been
nice,
too long,
yeah.
mate.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we hope you'll be
CTID.
out on the road sometime. City for the quadruple.
Yeah,
I don't know about the time
absolutely.
this goes out. It might be a shattered dream, but we shall see. We're City fans. We never expect anything.
Exactly.
We never take anything for granted.
We're in dreamland, aren't we?
We are.
Let's face
We're
it.
in dreamland.
Yeah, we are.
But we'll see you down the road somewhere, and new stuff maybe one day. Who
Yes,
knows?
very soon.
We shall wait and listen.
Yeah, it's in the works now.
Good stuff. So here we go. Live at the Edge, the Chameleons.
Souls in isolation,
Sometimes you get so lonely. Sometimes you get nowhere. I've been all over this world. I left every place. And all the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people, where do they all belong? Look at all the big bad giant standing tall, crushing all the creatures great and small. I wanna see this giant fall. When will it come? When will it come? The words that rattle round my head, struck by lightning, someone said, a diamond bullet to the head, hits him right in the brain, right in the brain. It's happened before, it'll happen again. When I see the jailer's face, can my mama bring me to this place? When I see the jailer's face, will another come to take my place? In total isolation, surrounded by crowds, too many tears, too many clowns, isolation. Surrounded by crowds in another world. In the clouds, I'm alive in here. I stream on this thing coming. I'm alive in here. I'm alive. Turn on the souls in isolation. Alive in here. I'm alive in here. I'm alive, alive, alive. I'm alive in here. Always searching for something. Searching. Dear, 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 is I'm longing for you, sweetest virgin, rounded flower, you cannot control me. Souls in isolation. I can hear your cries from down the hall. Souls in isolation. I can hear you breathing through the walls. And if I had a mind to now, I could call to you, or I could simply shut you out. No more would you to make the connection, you know how vital it is. Or when something slips through your fingers, you know how precious it is. And you reach the point where you know it's only your second skin, it's only your second skin. I heard someone banging on my door. I heard someone banging on my door. I heard someone banging on my door. Let 'em in there, let 'em in there, let 'em in, yeah. Come in now, come in, yeah. Last night I said these words to my girl. Last night I said these words to my girl. Come on, 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 come on. Tides are turning.
Well, follow that. You can't. So that's why we're finishing. The epic sound of the Chameleons. Before that, it was Megan Dixon Hood, the extraordinary Chris Turner on the drums, and kicking the whole thing off, the Sherlocks. A mixed bag, but truly engaging and varied, don't you think? Yeah, I thought so too. See you next time.
I'm Liam Nolan. I'm one of the in-house engineers here, so let me show you about the studios. This is our largest room here at Metropolis. It's our flagship room, built in 1986, designed by Sam Toyoshima. It's an amazing sound and control room. We're very lucky. We've got an SSL, J-Series desk, loads of choice outboards, gear. This room was initially made famous by Queen recording their last two albums here, so I believe they were Made in Heaven and Innuendo, and since then we've had loads of great artists, so modern artists such as Stormzy, Adele, Rihanna, Paul McCartney, although he's a legend, you know, some great artists, so it's a really great space and I'm very lucky to be working here. Okay guys, so welcome to Studio A Live Room. We're super lucky to have this room here. It's an amazing sounding live room. It's very versatile. Depending on what you want, you can get, you know, really tight sounding drums. Once you move in the baffles, put the carpets in, you can really get a tight drum sound, or if you open it up, you can have a really big rock, almost Led Zeppelin-y drum sound. It's a super great space to work in. Of course, we have the Fazioli Piano here. I believe this was bought in for Queen, so they used it on their last two records. It's a great sounding piano. There's been so many records with this on. It's quite tonally rich, so it's not super classical, but for rock and pop, it's just got that extra X factor. I don't know, it's not clean, it's quite characterful, it's quite, I don't know, it's a great sound piano. So we get lots of clients come here just specifically to use this piano. The most recent thing I can tell you it was used on, so I recorded Hello, and this is the piano on Adele's Hello, so if you want to hear this piano, listen to that record, because we've also got two other spaces. So this is the main one. We normally record piano, put drums in here. But over where I walked through, that's actually the stone room. And that, I believe, the design was copied from Townhouse Studios. And that's, again, it sounds great for drums. It was kind of used to emulate that Phil Collins drum sound. So you can put drums in there, but we also use it for guitars, bass, anything you want to separate from the live room, really. And over here, we've got the dead room. So this is where we'll build the vocal booths, or anything. You might even hear it in my voice, actually. The acoustics change to in here. So already a lot tighter, although the room's quite big. So we'll normally build a booth, put baffles, record vocals, maybe acoustics. Again, if you want a super tight, punchy drum sound, you put drums in here. It depends. It just entirely depends what the client wants, really. So welcome to Studio A's green room. You get this room when you book the studio. It's just a breakout room for the artists to come and relax. We've got some speakers here, so whatever's going on in the control room or live room, we can feed the music up here. They've got a PlayStation, they've got a TV, they can chill out. And if it's a band or anything else, there's also some windows through to each of the live rooms, so they can also watch what's going on. It's got its own kitchen, it's got its own toilet, so it's a complete space for the artist to just relax and do what they want. So let's go to Studio B and I'll show you around there. Welcome to Studio B control room. This is another great space. It's not quite as large as Studio A, but some clients really love it. So through the years, we've had some great engineers and producers work here. For a while, Chenzo Townsend, who does some amazing mixes and such a lovely guy, he had this room for a little bit. Other producers such as Chris Potter doing some Richard Ashcroft and the Verve stuff. So it's a favourite for some clients. It's a great sounding control room. It's very controlled. Everything's very kind of finely tuned in here, which is great. Gear wise, it's very similar to Studio A because we like to keep the gear similar in case you're moving rooms. So again, we have our Tube Techs, our 1176s, DBXs, you know, classic gear. The desk is slightly different. It's a G series, great sounding desk for tracking. You know, it's a beast really, and for mixing, it's a fantastic desk. Welcome to Studio B live room. It's a little bit smaller than the Studio A live room that we're just in, but I don't know if you can hear it through my microphone. It's very ambient in here. For the size of the room, it's, you know, quite large sounding, which is good because it makes the room super versatile. You know, if you want a big sound, you can have it just having it this open and you'll get a great drum sound. Or if you want it a bit tighter, again, we've got loads of baffles, loads of carpet, so we can bring it in and make things as, you know, sculpt the character of the room to however you like it. Similar to A, we've got 3 different breakout rooms, although I should mention actually, the corridor that I just walked through, it's great sounding, so we sometimes put amps in there. And the lounge you saw earlier, it's got ties as well, so we can put stuff in there. So although there's 3 live rooms, we've actually got 5 spaces, the corridor and the lounge as well, if we need to do anything. Let me stand in here, because again, you may not be able to see, but the room's quite big. But already, hopefully you can hear it through my mic, it's already, the acoustics have died down, and once you close the door, you won't get any reflections from in the live room. So this is actually a really good space to record vocals. Whoever's here is recording through our Sony C800, a classic pop vocal mic. It's really lends itself great to pop, you know, it's got quite a bright characteristic, so you've already got that sculpted sound, if that makes sense. And yeah, this is kind of how we set up our vocal booths, if that makes sense, yeah.
I'm Stuart Jones,
And this is Woodworm Studios. This is the kitchen diner area where we've got obviously kitchen facilities, TV, kettle, most importantly coffee and tea, and the fridge, microwave, everything you could ever want in a studio to keep yourself refreshed. We've obviously got bedrooms because we're a residential studio, so we've got a twin room there, a twin room over there, and also we've got a chalet at the bottom of the garden which also has accommodation. And into this lovely double height live room, which is part of 4 sort of versatile recording spaces we have here at the studios, and which is the reason why bands keep coming back to us. We've got a Gretsch drum kit which works really well in this room. You get a nice punchy open sound. We've also got the Yamaha G2 piano, which features on most recordings that come in here, and also the Hammond A100 and a Leslie, which we'll bring into the middle of the room to exploit the space. Off that we then have a booth which is filled with some amps for backline, and also we've got this booth which is far deader as either a vocal booth or an amp room if you want a very dry, dead sound. The space was originally conceived by Dave Pegg from Fairport Convention back in '81, and as a result of that we've had Fairport Convention come here, Jethro Tull, and also members of Judas Priest and Black Sabbath and Radiohead. So we've had a good number of high-spec clients coming through here because of this room. And also, up the top of the stairs, we have another recording space which doubles as a listening room. And here we are in the mezzanine, where I've got a vocal set up for a session tomorrow. We've got great sight lines into the live room through the door window and also the main window here. This room also doubles as a listening room, so bands can sit in here, chat away and listen to what's going on in the control room without disturbing the engineer and producer. We wanted a nice modern sounding and flexible desk, so we went with a duality, which is perfect for our needs, and we augmented it with different flavors of compression, mic pre's and EQ on the outboard side of things. And then it was obviously very important to make sure that we had good monitoring in here, so we got the PMCs as main monitors. Near fields we've got BM6As or the ROCs, and also a 5.1 surround system for any audio visual sort of projects that come through. Visit us and check us out.
John Leckie is one of Britain's most acclaimed rock producers. He has produced and engineered music by Muse, the Stone Roses, Radiohead, Pink Floyd and many, many more. An invited audience of 80 record producers gathered at Abbey Road Studios, where George Schilling sat down with John to chat about the studios and his amazing career there.
Where's your shoes? You're fired. I just got a D19C. If I put it over the drummer, will it sound like Ringo? He said no, it sounds That's right.
Jane Howard, that's me, with the help of Tape Community Music and Film, have brought the conversation to life through my animations.
So, what was the question? I don't know. Yeah. Was that all right, mate? That was fantastic.